Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today in gaming, Cold War and Warzone Season 2 brings some big changes to both games. Squad got a massive overhaul, BioWare confirmed Anthem is cancelled, and much more. Cold War and Warzone Season 2 is here, and it makes some big changes to both games. In Warzone, a cargo tanker has run ashore next to the prison. There you'll find the usual loot, but also a zombies trial station. Activating it will spawn a wave of zombies. Killing them all gives you a nice reward, but also attracts other players. There's also 3 new missile silos scattered across the map. You'll find them at the Arklov Peak Mountain Military Base, Novi Granza Hills, and in the Tovorsk Park. The subway stadium and several bunkers have also been closed up. 3 new weapons were added with the update: the Farah 83 assault rifle, the LC-10 SMG, and a new machete melee weapon. The 2 new guns are available on free tiers of the Season 2 Battle Pass at level 15 and 31 respectively. These weapons have been added to Warzone's ground loot. The machete is unlocked by completing a weapon challenge or buying it in the store bundle. One of the more significant improvements made with the update is that 3 Cold War weapon attachments had their descriptions updated to reflect what they actually do and were rebalanced. The Bruiser Grip now affects movement speed and hipfire accuracy. The Mounted Flashlight and Tiger Grip Team Spotlight now affect movement speed and aim walking movement speed. There's also some massive fixes for long-standing issues with Warzone in the update. The Grinch Forest skin, which rendered you invisible at certain distances, is now correctly rendering at all ranges. Players will no longer spawn outside of the Gulag combat zone. It's unclear if this also fixes the exploit that lets players get into the Gulag without dying. Probably the biggest fix is that the gas circle will now deal more damage over time if you stand in it continuously. This should stop players from abusing future stim glitch exploits or using ammo crates and buy stations to restock their stims. Of course, Cold War also got some significant updates with Season 2. Obviously, there's the new Outbreak Zombies mode set on the game's Fireteam maps and new 6v6 maps. But there's also been several changes made to the layouts of several standard maps. Cartel, Crossroads Strike, Moscow, Satellite, Raid, and Express have all gotten substantial design and prop changes to improve the flow of combat and visibility. The changes might not stand out at first glance, but they're still welcome improvements. Unfortunately, it's not all great news. Activision are warning players with 500GB PlayStation 4s that they might not have enough space to install all Cold War and Warzone's content. The install size has been a rapidly ballooning problem for both games, and so far it seems like the sky's the limit for how big they'll get. For now, your options on the PlayStation 4 are to use external storage or uninstall modes that you don't play. Overall, the Season 2 update seems pretty solid, though I'm sure there'll be plenty of debate in the comments about that one. There's no denying that 2021 started off with Warzone and Cold War in rough states, but both games are steadily improving. FPS Milsim Squad got a massive update last night, and when I say massive, I mean it's so big that there's no way I could possibly explain all of the changes. The cliff notes of the version 2 update is that there's a new map called Goose Bay. It's a polar environment with vehicle warfare and snow-covered shorelines. All of the game's graphical options have been reworked from the ground up to improve clarity, performance, and consistency across all settings. Network optimizations were made to vehicles with turrets that should fix all sorts of bugs and inconsistencies. The helicopter flight model was totally overhauled to improve flying in all situations. There are 3 new guns: the Mosin Nagant, the C7A2 assault rifle, and the RPD LMG. There's also 2 new anti-heavy tank launchers. Select rifle optics were reworked with new reticle sizes, brightening, color, lens tint, and physically accurate parallax effects. These changes make them look like some of the most accurately rendered weapon sights I've ever seen in a game. Also, there's a whole bunch of new vehicles. Now, beyond this new content, the patch notes include pages and pages of changes, tweaks, fixes, and modifications to every aspect of the game. This is kind of the update that is going to take weeks to get a grasp on. There are some known issues with the patch and lingering issues that predate it, but the developers have pledged to address them as fast as possible. The patch notes end with the developers saying "Off-world out," and frankly it feels kinda like a mic drop. I'd love to hear what your impressions of the update are. If you're playing the game, let us know in the comments down below. BioWare has confirmed Anthem Next, aka the total overhaul meant to revitalize the game, has been cancelled. Reports circulated a couple of weeks ago saying the project was up for review by EA. The update would have required expanding Anthem's current development team of 30 people to at least 90. Unfortunately for anyone looking for an update for the game and the developers working on it, it sounds like EA said no. BioWare will continue to support the game as it is, but don't expect any new expansions or significant updates. The studio is shifting its full focus to their upcoming Dragon Age and Mass Effect games. And while it's unfortunate that an entire game and more than a year of post-launch work is getting shelved, in hindsight it's probably the smart move. Anthem Next could have been a total reboot of the game that fixed everything players had complained about, but it still could have failed. Anthem's legacy isn't exactly positive, and it lost its core player base before it even really had one. Building that audience back seems like a near impossibility. Perhaps one day BioWare will attempt to revitalize the franchise with the sequel, but honestly, I wouldn't count on it. The breakaway gaming hit Valheim is officially past 4 million units sold. And while the player count isn't quite at the same height that it hit this past weekend, the sales are an insane feat for any indie game to accomplish in 3 weeks. But the game isn't just selling well, it's also getting updates. A patch for the game just went live that ups the difficulty for bosses, fixes a massive bug that could wipe your progress, and makes a few other tweaks to improve the overall experience. The delay of Cyberpunk 2077's next update got some new content late last night. Apparently, the developers have been locked out of their workstations for the past 2 weeks. To ensure the attackers don't regain access, the company blocked all outside access to their servers and systems. All of CD Projekt Red's developers are currently working from home. With the company shutting off all external access, no one can connect their computer to the network servers in the company's offices. So any files or data that they need to do their job is inaccessible. CD Projekt Red's IT department is also having remote employees send their work computers to scan for malicious software. The good news is, though, the attack doesn't seem directly responsible for the lockout. The attack did wipe live data, but the developers had backups and quickly restored the deleted data. Nvidia's launch of the RTX 3060 was predictably frustrating for gamers. It's priced at $329 and technically offers very strong performance for the money. On paper, it outpaces the RTX 2070. Unfortunately, the new GPU was out of stock within minutes of launch at all retailers. And while that's rough news, the GPU itself is at the heart of a big controversy. Nvidia are launching crypto mining GPUs. They're also using firmware to limit mining performance on the 3060 artificially to prevent their consumer-oriented GPUs from getting gobbled up by crypto miners. And there's a good chance that similar updates will be applied to their other gaming GPUs eventually. Just days after rolling out Amazon Luna to millions of devices, the game streaming company's head is out. Mark Whitten served as the head of Amazon's cloud gaming division since, well, it's basically been a thing, and was previously at Amazon for 5 years. He's moved on to work at the game engine company Unity. Before we get to our final story today, I just wanted to say thanks for tuning in. Over 65% of our views come from our subscribers. That level of support is incredible, but it also means that more than 30% of you are missing out on daily news content. Consider hitting that sub button if you enjoy our gaming news coverage, and turn on notifications so you never miss another episode of Today in Gaming. A demo for the third-person co-op shooter Outriders is live. It's developed by the studio behind Bulletstorm and Gears of War Judgment. Outriders borrows elements from looter shooters like Destiny 2 and The Division, but condenses the action and scope of the game to non-open world levels with an actual end goal in sight. If you're interested in checking it out, the demo is available on Steam or the Xbox consoles. And that wraps it up for Today in Gaming. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.